After Earth's final orbital defense grid collapsed under the weight of an unstoppable alien armada, silence fell over the solar system. Cities once bright with light were now dark scars on a dying world. Oceans boiled, skies burned, and humanity's last hope drifted alone through the void. A single colony ship named the Odyssey Seed. Inside its cold, humming corridors, thousands of humans slept in cryopods, preserved like seeds waiting for fertile soil. Among them was Lena Carter, a xenolinguist who had spent her life studying dead languages and forgotten signals from deep space. She was not supposed to wake yet. The ship's course was set for a distant star system, a journey that would take over 2 centuries. But something went wrong. A faint pulse cut through the static of deep space. Not a distress call in any known human code, but a rhythm. Soft, repeating, almost musical. The ship's AI flagged it as non-terrestrial and low priority. But Lena's pod malfunctioned. Her systems rebooted early. Alarms blared. Lights flickered. And she awoke alone, gasping, in a ship that felt more like a tomb than a vessel. She stumbled through empty halls, her breath fogging in the chilled air. Screens blinked with data she barely understood. Navigation logs, power levels, life support stable but no crew awake. She was the only one moving in a world of sleepers. Then she heard it again. The signal, clearer now, coming from a nearby star system not on any human chart. It pulsed like a heartbeat, steady, patient, calling. Lena knew the rules. Do not deviate. Do not respond to unknown signals. Complete the mission. Save the species. But she also knew silence had killed Earth. No one had listened in time. No one had reached out, so she overrode the protocols. With trembling hands, she rerouted the ship. Engines groaned as the Odyssey Seed turned from its path and dove toward the unknown. 3 weeks later, the ship entered orbit around a planet wrapped in silver mist. It had no name in human records. Its atmosphere was breathable. Its surface showed signs of ancient structures, towers half swallowed by vines, domes cracked but still standing, roads that curved like rivers through dense forests. It looked peaceful, untouched. Lena landed the shuttle in a wide clearing near a ring of standing stones. The air smelled of rain and something sweet like crushed petals. Gravity was lighter than Earth's. Every step felt like floating. She stepped out alone, wearing a light enviro suit with no helmet, just in case. Her scanner showed no toxins, no predators, only birdsong and wind through tall, glass-like trees. She walked for hours, mapping, recording, listening. Then, near dusk, she found it. In a hollow between 2 hills, half buried in moss and roots, lay a creature. It was large, bigger than a horse, but slender, with limbs like folded wings. Its skin shimmered like oil on water, shifting from deep violet to pale gold as the light changed. Long spines ran down its back, dull and broken in places. One wing was torn. Its eyes were closed, but its chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. Lena froze. It looked like a dragon from old Earth myths. Impossible. Beautiful. Dying. She approached slowly, hands open, voice soft. Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you. The creature's eyes opened. They were not animal eyes. They held intelligence, pain, fear, and something else. Recognition. A low hum vibrated in its throat. Not a growl, more like a question. Lena knelt a few feet away. She pulled a med kit from her belt and set it down gently. I'm alone, just me. My name is Lena. The creature watched her. Then with great effort, it lifted its head. A thin tendril of smoke curled from its nostrils. Not fire, just warmth. Lena didn't understand how, but she felt a pull. Not physical. Deeper. Like 2 broken things finding each other in the dark. She spent the night beside it, sharing her water, cleaning its wounds with antiseptic foam. The creature let her. It even leaned into her touch once, just slightly, before exhaustion took it again. By morning, the bond had begun. She named it Kale. It felt right. Short, strong, like a word from a language not yet spoken. As the days passed, Kale grew stronger. He could stand, then walk, then stretch his wings, though they still wouldn't hold flight. Lena explored more of the planet, always returning to the hollow. She found strange carvings on the standing stones, symbols that looked like flowing water mixed with stars. None matched any human script, but when she spoke them aloud, Kale reacted. His spines glowed faintly. His hum deepened. One evening, as she sat beside him watching twin moons rise, something shifted. A thought entered her mind, not in words, but in feeling. Warmth, gratitude, loneliness. Lena gasped. "Was that you?" Cale turned his head. His eyes held hers, and again the feeling came, clearer this time. Yeah, she wasn't hearing him with her ears. She was hearing him in her mind. Over the next few days, their silent conversations grew. Cale showed her memories. Flashes of fire in the sky, great ships falling, his kind scattering like embers in a storm. His people were gone. Hunted. Erased. He was the last. Lena shared her own memories. Earth's blue oceans, her mother's laugh, the day the sky turned red with invasion. She told him about the sleeping humans on the ship, about hope buried in ice. They were both orphans of war. But here, on this quiet world, they were not alone. Then, on the 7th day, the signal changed. The musical pulse from space grew louder, sharper. No longer a call. It was a warning. Lena rushed back to the shuttle. Her scanner showed new readings. Energy spikes. Movement in orbit. Something was coming. Not human, not friendly. She ran back to Cale, heart pounding. "We have to hide, now," he understood. With a pained groan, he folded his wings tight and followed her into the forest, moving faster than she expected. They reached a cave beneath a waterfall just as the sky darkened. Above the trees, 3 massive ships descended, sleek, black, shaped like claws. They made no sound, no light, just a cold shadow spreading over the land. Lena crouched behind a rock, holding her breath. Cale pressed close, his body warm against her side. She felt his fear, but also his resolve. The ships hovered, scanning, searching. For what? For her? For the Odyssey seed? Or for him? One ship fired a beam, not at the ground, but at the standing stones. The ancient ring flared with blue light, then shattered. Dust rose like ghosts. Lena's blood ran cold. They weren't just scouts. They were erasers, deleting history, cleaning the slate. After an hour, the ships left. The forest fell silent again. But the peace was broken. Cale nudged her gently. In her mind, a single image formed. A mountain far to the north, wrapped in mist with a glowing peak. "Safe place," he sent. Lena nodded. "Then that's where we go." But before they could move, her wristcom beeped. A message from the Odyssey seed. Automatic alert. Another ship had entered the system. Human. A rescue, or another threat. She didn't know. But one thing was clear, Earth was gone. This world was real, and Cale was hers to protect. As night fell again, Lena made her choice. She would not run back to sleepers who might never wake. She would not hide while history was burned. She would fight, not with weapons. She had none worth mentioning, but with knowledge, with connection, with the strange, silent bond between a lost woman and a dying dragon. Together, they walked north under starlight, leaving footprints in dew-damp soil. Behind them, the ruins of an ancient world. Ahead, danger and mystery. But for the first time since Earth fell, Lena did not feel afraid. She felt ready. Lena and Cale walked for days through forests that seemed to breathe. The trees swayed without wind. The ground pulsed softly underfoot like a slow heartbeat. Cale moved easier now, his steps steady, his wings held high. He no longer needed Lena's help, but he stayed close, his mind brushing against hers like a quiet hum. They followed the image he had shown her. The mountain with the glowing peak. It rose in the distance, wrapped in silver mist that never thinned. As they drew nearer, the air grew warmer, filled with the scent of blooming night flowers and wet stone. On the 5th morning, they reached the edge of a wide valley. In its center stood tall structures, not ruins like before, but living buildings. They curved like shells, made of smooth white stone that shimmered in the light. Vines with glowing blue leaves climbed their sides. No doors, no windows, just open arches that invited rather than blocked. Lena stopped. "This is it." Cale lowered his head. Home, he sent, but no one came out. They waited. Hours passed. The sun moved across the sky. Still silence. Lena stepped forward, hands open. "We mean no harm." As if in answer, the ground beneath her feet lit up. Soft lines of light spread from her boots, racing toward the buildings like roots waking. A low chime echoed through the valley. Then from the arches, figures emerged, tall, slender, skin like pale moonlight. eyes large and silver reflecting the sky. They wore flowing robes that shifted color with every step, green to blue to violet. Their ears tapered to soft points. They moved without sound, gliding more than walking. Lena's breath caught. They looked like the elves of old Earth stories, but real. Alive. The beings did not speak. They simply watched. One stepped forward, older than the rest, with silver hair braided with tiny crystals. Her eyes held deep calm, but also sharp intelligence. She studied Lena, then Kale, then back to Lena. "You are the Star Walker," she said. Her voice was soft, melodic, but clear. She spoke English perfectly, without accent. Lena blinked. "How do you know that language?" "We have listened," the woman replied. "For a long time. We heard your world fall. We heard your ship come. And we heard the song between you and the World Singer." "World Singer?" Lena glanced at Kale. The woman nodded. "That is what we call his kind. They do not speak with words. They sing with the planet. You hear him? That means you are tied to Valus now." She introduced herself as Mira, leader of the Scifi, the people of this world. They had lived here for thousands of years, hidden from the stars, watching but never interfering. "Why hide?" Lena asked. Mira's eyes darkened. "The same ones who burned your world hunt us too. They take life. Not for food. Not for land. But to erase it. They call it cleansing. We call it murder." Lena understood. The black ships. The beam that shattered the stones. It was not random. It was hunting. Mira turned. "Come, you are safe here." The Scifi led them into the heart of the settlement. Inside, the buildings were open and airy, filled with light that came from the walls themselves. Plants grew from floors and ceilings, blooming in soft pulses. There were no chairs, no tables, just cushions and low platforms. Everything felt alive. Lena was given water that tasted like rain and fruit that glowed faintly in her palm. Cal was led to a pool of clear liquid that shimmered like liquid starlight. When he drank, his spines brightened and his torn wing began to knit itself together. As night fell, the Scifi gathered in a wide circle around a central garden. They sang, not with voices but with hands. They moved in rhythm, and the air filled with soft tones that made the flowers glow brighter. Lena sat with Mira at the edge. "Why did you welcome us?" she asked. "We could be dangerous," Mira smiled. "Prophecy says when the last world singer bonds with a child of the stars, the veil will lift. The hiding will end. You are that child. Kale is the singer. Together you broke the silence." Lena didn't know what to say. She had never believed in fate. But here, on this world, things felt different. Not everyone agreed, though. A younger Scifi woman stood apart from the circle. Her robes were darker, edged with black thread. Her eyes watched Lena with suspicion. She carried a staff tipped with a sharp crystal. Mira noticed Lena's gaze. "That is Talia, our sharpest blade and our deepest doubt. She lost her bond singer long ago, killed by the cleansers. She does not trust off-worlders. Can I speak to her?" Lena asked. Mira nodded. "If you dare." Lena walked over. Talia did not turn. "I'm sorry for your loss," Lena said. Talia finally looked at her. "Your kind brought war to the stars. You burned your own world before they even came. Why should we believe you will not burn ours?" "We didn't burn Earth," Lena said quietly. "We tried to protect it, we failed. But that doesn't mean we don't learn." Talia's eyes narrowed. "Words are easy. Action is truth." Before Lena could reply, Kale approached. He lowered his head toward Talia, a gesture of respect. Talia stiffened, but then slowly she reached out and touched his snout. A flicker of surprise crossed her face. Then pain. Then something like hope. She pulled her hand back quickly. "He remembers them," she whispered. "The singers, they remember everything." She walked away without another word. Over the next few days, Lena learned more about the Scifi. They did not use machines. They shaped stone with song. They healed with light. They lived in balance with Valus, never taking more than they gave. Their history was not written. It was sung into the trees, stored in crystals, carried in blood memory. Kale grew stronger every hour. He spent time near the glowing groves, where tall crystals hummed with energy. When he stood among them, the whole valley seemed to sigh in relief. Lena helped where she could. She showed them how to read human star maps. She explained how the Odyssey seed worked. In return, Mira taught her the basics of Scifi harmony. The way sound could shape matter, how thought could guide growth. But peace did not last. On the 10th day, alarms rang through the valley, not loud but deep. like a bell underwater. Mira gathered the Sylthari in the central garden. Her face was grave. "They found us," she said. Above the mountain, the sky split open. 3 black ships descended, larger than before. They hovered like vultures, scanning the land with red beams. The Sylthari did not panic. They formed circles, hands linked, voices rising in a low chant. The ground trembled. Walls of light rose around the valley, shimmering shields made of sound and will. But the ships fired. Not beams this time. Pods. Dozens of them dropped from the bellies of the vessels, crashing into the forest outside the shield. The pods opened. Creatures emerged, tall, armored with too many limbs and eyes that glowed red. They moved fast, climbing trees, tearing through vines. They carried weapons that pulsed with dark energy. "Harvesters," Mira said, voice tight. "Cells do not kill quickly. They drain. They take the life force and leave empty shells." Talia stepped forward, staff in hand. "We must fight." "We are not warriors," another Sylthari said. "Then we become them," Talia snapped. Lena looked at Kale. His eyes burned with fury. He remembered these things. He had seen his kind fall to them. "I can help," Lena said. "I know how they think." "I've studied war." Mira hesitated. "Our way is peace." "Peace is gone," Lena said. "They won't stop until everything that breathes is silent." After a long moment, Mira nodded. "Show us." So that night Lena planned. She used what little tech she had, a scanner, a drone from the shuttle, her knowledge of human guerrilla tactics. She mapped the forest, found weak points in the harvester lines, showed the Sylthari how to set traps using vines and sonic crystals. Talia watched her closely. "You are not what I expected." "What did you expect?" Lena asked. "Noise, greed, fear." "I'm afraid," Lena admitted. "But fear doesn't mean I run." Talia gave a small nod. "Good." At dawn they struck. Lena and Talia moved through the trees like shadows. Talia used her staff to channel soundbursts that stunned the harvesters. Lena used the drone to lure them into pits lined with sharp crystals. Kale stayed back, hidden in the mist. But when a group of harvesters broke through the eastern shield, he roared. Not a sound of anger, but a deep, resonant note that shook the air. The harvesters froze. Their red eyes flickered. For a moment they seemed confused, lost. The Sylthari used that moment. They sang together, a single powerful chord that shattered the harvester's armor. It worked, but the cost was high. 3 Sylthari fell. Their light faded as the harvesters drained them. Lena saw it happen. She ran to one, a young woman named Nira, but it was too late. Her silver eyes went dull. Talia knelt beside her, silent tears falling. Lena felt sick, but she also felt something else, resolve. Back in the valley, Mira tended to the wounded. She looked at Lena. "You were right. We cannot hide forever." Kale limped to Lena's side. He was hurt, a gash on his shoulder from a stray blast. But he was alive. Lena put her hand on his neck. "We did what we could. Not enough," he sent. "They will come back. Stronger." She knew he was right. As the sun set, the black ships retreated, but not far. They hovered at the edge of the atmosphere, waiting. The Sylthari gathered again, but this time there was no song, only silence. Lena stood with Talia on a high ledge, watching the enemy ships. "What now?" Talia asked. "Now," Lena said, "we prepare for the real fight." And for the first time, Talia did not argue. Below them, Kyle raised his head and let out a low, steady hum. The crystals in the grove answered. The mountain glowed brighter. Valus was waking up, and it was not alone. The black ships returned at dawn. Not 3 this time, but 9. They formed a ring around the mountain, cutting off the sky. Their red beams scanned the valley again, deeper now, searching for weaknesses in the Sylthari shields. Lena stood with Mira and Talia on the highest ledge of the settlement. Below, the Sylthari moved quickly, reinforcing their light walls with more crystals and song. But their faces were tight with fear. They had never fought like this before. Their songs were for healing, not harm. "They know we are here," Mira said. "They will not leave until we are gone." "Then we make them pay for every step," Talia said, gripping her staff. Lena looked at Kyle. He stood apart, wings half spread, eyes fixed on the ships. His mind was quiet, but she felt his anger like heat under her skin. He remembered the fall of his kind. He would not let it happen again. "We need a plan," Lena said. "Not just defense, attack," Mira frowned. We do not strike first. They already struck, Lena replied. Earth is ash. Your singers are gone. If we wait, we die. After a long silence, Mira nodded. What do you suggest? Lena pointed to the largest ship, the command vessel at the center of the ring. That one controls the others. If we hurt it, the rest will falter. How do we reach it? Talia asked. It stays high. Our songs cannot reach that far. Not songs, Lena said. Machines. She led them to the shuttle hidden in the forest. Inside, she pulled out a small drone and a power core from the Odyssey Seed's backup systems. This core can overload. If we get it close enough to the ship's engine, it could cause a chain reaction. Who flies it? Talia asked. I do, Lena said. But I need a distraction. Something big enough to draw their eyes away. All three looked at Kale. He lowered his head. I will do it. No, Mira said quickly. You are the last world singer. If you fall, Valus loses its voice. If we all fall, the voice dies anyway. Kale sent through Lena. Lena placed a hand on his neck. He is right. This is our only chance. They prepared through the night. The Silthari wove cloaking vines around the shuttle to hide its heat. Talia sharpened her staff with sonic crystals that could cut through metal. Mira and the others strengthened the valley shields one last time. Before dawn, Lena hugged the sleeping pods in her mind. The thousands of humans still frozen in the Odyssey Seed. She did not know if they would ever wake. But if they did, she wanted them to find a world worth living in, not a grave. As the first light touched the mountain, Kyle took to the sky. His wings beat hard, lifting him above the trees. He did not hide. He roared, a deep, rolling sound that echoed off the cliffs and shook the ground. The black ships turned instantly, beams locked onto him. He flew high, then dove, weaving between blasts. Fire erupted from his mouth, not flame but pure sound energy that cracked the air. One harvester pod exploded before it even opened. The ships focused on him, just as planned. Lena launched the shuttle from the forest edge. It was small, fast, and nearly silent. She steered it low, using the mountain's shadow to stay hidden. Talia ran beside her on the ground, clearing a path through harvester patrols with sharp bursts of sound. The command ship hung like a black eye in the sky. Lena's hands shook on the controls. She had never flown anything like this, but she had studied the schematics. She knew where the engine vents were. Almost there, she whispered. Then alarms blared in the cockpit. A harvester had spotted her. It leaped from a nearby ridge, claws out. Talia was there in an instant. She slammed her staff into the ground. A wave of sound shot upward, shattering the harvester midair. It fell in pieces. Go! Talia shouted. Lena pushed the throttle. The shuttle shot upward. Kale saw her coming. He banked hard, drawing more fire away from her path. A beam grazed his wing. He cried out but kept flying. Lena reached the ship's underbelly. She found the vent. With a deep breath, she armed the core and launched it from the shuttle's bay. The drone zipped into the dark opening. She turned the shuttle hard, diving away. 3 seconds passed. Then, light. A white-hot explosion tore through the command ship's belly. Metal twisted. Fire bloomed in the cold air. The ship listed sideways, engines dying. The other 8 ships stuttered. Their beams flickered. For a moment, they were blind. Kale used that moment. He flew straight at the nearest ship and unleashed his full song, a note so powerful it cracked the hull. The ship shuddered and began to fall, but the victory was short. From the dying command ship, something new emerged, a single figure. Tall, armored in black, face hidden behind a smooth mask. It floated down on a disk of dark energy, landing in the center of the valley. The harvesters stopped. The Silthari froze. The figure raised a hand. The light shield shattered like glass. Mira gasped. The Cleanser Lord. Talia stepped forward. Stay back, the Cleanser Lord spoke. Its voice was not sound, it was thought, forced into their minds. You resist the cleansing. You cling to life like insects in rot. We offer silence. Peace. End this. We choose life, Mira said. Life is noise. Noise is pain. We remove pain. The Lord raised both hands. The ground cracked. Plants withered. Silthari cried out as their connection to Valus snapped. Lena felt it too, a sudden cold in her chest. Kale landed beside her, weak but standing. We can't let it win, she said. Talia nodded. Together, they charged. Talia struck first, her staff glowing white-hot. She slashed at the Lord's armor. Sparks flew, but the blade did not cut deep. The Lord backhanded her. She flew backward, crashing into a stone wall. Lena threw a sonic grenade, one she had made from Sylthari crystals. It burst at the Lord's feet. The sound wave made it stagger. Kale roared again, pouring his energy into the air. The Lord turned to him. Last of your kind. You should have hidden. It fired a beam of pure void, a darkness that swallowed light. Kale screamed as it hit his chest. His glow dimmed. He fell to his knees. Lena ran to him. No, she looked at the Lord. At the broken Sylthari, at the dying mountain. Then she remembered something Mira had told her. The planet listens. She closed her eyes. And she sang, not with her voice, with her heart. She poured every memory into the earth. Her mother's lullaby. The sound of rain on earth. The hum of Kale's mind. The hope in the sleeping humans. The courage of the Sylthari. She sang life and Valus answered. The ground trembled. Roots burst from the soil, wrapping around the Cleanser Lord's legs. Crystals shot up like spears, piercing its armor. The mountain's peak glowed so bright it hurt to look at. The Lord thrashed. Impossible. You are just one. But I am not alone, Lena said. Kale rose. His eyes blazed. He joined her song. Mira and the Sylthari stood, hands linked, voices rising. Talia pushed herself up, staff raised, adding her sharp note to the chorus. The Cleanser Lord screamed as the light consumed it. Its armor cracked. Its form dissolved into ash. The remaining ships, now without command, powered down. They drifted, lifeless in the sky. Silence fell. Then, birds sang. The forest breathed again. Lena collapsed beside Kyle, exhausted but smiling. Talia walked over and offered her a hand. You are not just a star walker, she said. You are a world singer too. Mira joined them, tears in her silver eyes. The prophecy was true. The veil is lifted, but Lena knew the war was not over. The armada was vast. This was only one battle. Still, for now, they had won, and that was enough. The victory was quiet but deep. The black ships hung dead in the sky, their lights gone. The forest healed fast. Vines grew over cracks in the earth, and the glowing crystals pulsed stronger than before. Yet everyone knew the calm would not last. The armada was vast. The Cleanser Lord was only one piece of a greater machine. Mira called a gathering in the heart of the valley. All the Sylthari stood in a wide circle, their silver eyes filled with both hope and worry. Talia stood near Lena. Her staff no longer held like a weapon, but like a staff of honor. Kale rested at Lena's side, his wounds closing, his hum steady. They will send more, Mira said. Stronger. They do not forgive failure. Then we must be ready, Talia replied. But how? Asked a young Sylthari. Our songs were not made for war. Lena stepped forward. Maybe it is not about war. Maybe it is about waking something bigger. She looked at Kale. He understood. He had felt it too. The deep pulse beneath the soil. The slow breath of the planet itself. Valus was alive. Not just a world with life, but a living being. There is a place, Kyle sent to her mind. The core. Where the first singers began. Mira's eyes widened. The heart cavern. It is forbidden. Only the world singers may enter. He is the last, Lena said. And I am with him. Maybe that is enough. After a long silence, Mira nodded. If Valus allows it, so shall we. They prepared at once. The Sylthari wove cloaks of light vines for protection. Talia sharpened her crystals and taught Lena how to shape sound into shields. Kale ate from the starlight pool until his wings shimmered with power. At dawn, they left the valley. Only Lena, Kale, and Mira went. The others stayed to guard the settlement, watching the silent ships above. The journey to the mountain's peak was steep and strange. The path changed as they walked. Stones moved to form steps, roots parted to clear the way. Valus was guiding them. Halfway up, the air grew thick with energy. Every breath felt like drinking light. Kale's spines glowed brighter with each step. Finally, they reached a cave behind a waterfall of liquid silver. The entrance pulsed like a heartbeat. Mira stopped. I cannot go further. The heart knows only singers and those they choose. Lena looked at Kale. He bowed his head toward the cave. Come. She stepped inside. The cavern was vast, lit by veins of blue crystal running through the walls. In the center floated a sphere of pure light, soft, warm, humming with 1,000 voices. It was the planet's core. Its mind. Kale walked to the edge and lowered his head. The light reached out, touching his snout. Memories flowed, of ancient times, of harmony, of loss. Lena felt tears on her cheeks. She did not understand all of it, but she felt the pain of a world that had watched its children die. Then the light turned to her. A voice filled her mind. Not words, but feeling. "Why are you here, child of ash?" "To help," she said aloud. "To protect. To give back what was taken." "You carry fire and fear, I carry hope too," she said. "And love. For Earth. For Kale. For this place." The light pulsed. Milena closed her eyes. She thought of her home. Blue oceans, green fields, city lights at night. She thought of her mother's hands, her father's laugh, the smell of rain on dry soil. She thought of the Odyssey seed, full of sleepers dreaming of a second chance. Then she thought of Kale, his courage, his song, his loyalty, and she thought of the Sylphari, their grace, their songs, their choice to trust a stranger. The core grew brighter. Warmth filled the cavern. "You are ready," Kyle stepped into the light. His body dissolved into pure energy, then reformed, larger, stronger, his wings edged with starlight. He was no longer just a dragon. He was a voice of the world. Lena felt the connection deepen. Now she did not just hear his thoughts. She felt the planets too. The final song begins. Outside, the sky darkened. Not with clouds. With ships. Hundreds of them, black and sharp, filling the horizon. The full armada had come. Talia stood on the valley ledge, staff raised. The Sylphari formed their circles, hands linked, voices low. They knew this was the end or the beginning. Lena and Kale emerged from the mountain. The ground shook beneath them. The crystals in the valley blazed like suns. "What do we do?" Talia asked as Lena joined her. "We sing," Lena said. She took Kale's mind in hers, and together they began. Lena sang with her voice first. Earth songs, human songs, songs of survival. Then Kale joined, his roar weaving through hers like thunder through rain. The Sylphari added their harmony, deep and ancient. The planet answered. Forests rose like walls, trees twisting into shields. Rivers boiled into thick steam that blinded the ship's sensors. The mountain peak shot a beam of pure light into the sky, scattering the fleet. The armada fired. Beams of void energy rained down. But the land moved. Valleys closed. Hills rose. The earth itself fought back. Talia led the Sylphari into the chaos. They ran through steam and light, striking harvesters with sonic blades. Lena guided drones from the shuttle, now powered by Velus's energy, crashing them into ship engines. Kale flew higher than ever before. He circled the largest command ship, singing a note so pure it cracked the hull from within. Metal screamed. The ship fell like a dead star, but the armada did not stop. More ships came. More harvesters dropped. Lena felt her strength fading. The song was draining her. She looked at Kale. He was burning bright, but even he had limits. Then Mira stepped into the center of the valley. She raised her arms and sang alone. A single high note that cut through the noise. The core answered. A wave of light exploded from the mountain, rolling across the land. It did not burn. It woke. Every plant, every stone, every drop of water sang with power. The harvesters froze, their dark energy overwhelmed by life. The ship's systems failed. Lights died. Engines stopped. The armada broke. Ships turned and fled, vanishing into the stars. Silence returned. Lena collapsed to her knees. Kale landed beside her, his light dimming but steady. Talia ran to them, her face streaked with soot and tears. "You did it," she said. "We did it," Lena whispered. Mira walked over, her silver eyes full of awe. "The prophecy is complete. The Star Walker and the World Singer have awakened Vaelis." In the days that followed, the valley healed faster than ever. The dead ships were pulled into the earth, turned into soil. The Sylphari sang songs of thanks, not just for survival, but for change. Lena knew the armada might return, but now Vaelis was ready, and so was she. She looked up at the twin moons, Kale resting at her side, Talia standing guard, Mira watching with quiet pride. They were no longer just survivors. They were guardians. Weeks had passed since the swarm fell silent. The moon of Varelis no longer echoed with the shriek of Cathar engines or the thunder of falling towers. Instead, a soft wind moved through the ruins, carrying the scent of new moss and blooming night flowers. Human engineers worked alongside the few surviving elves, those who had hidden deep in the ice caves during the purge, to rebuild what they could. But most of the work was quiet, slow, healing. Lila Morrow stood on a stone balcony that jutted from what used to be an elven sky temple. Her left arm was still wrapped in a light bandage, the skin beneath pink and tender. She watched the horizon where the twin moons rose, one pale gold, the other deep violet, casting long shadows over the broken city below. Smoke curled from a dozen small fires, human camps mixed with elven hearths. For the first time in years, there was no fear in the air. Behind her, bare feet brushed against cool stone. Nira appeared at the edge of the balcony, her silver hair loose and catching the moonlight like spun glass. She wore a simple tunic now, not the armored robes of a starweave keeper, but something softer, woven from plant fibers and dyed in soft blues. At her side, Kalen padded quietly, his massive form reduced to something almost cat-like in its calm. His obsidian scales shimmered faintly, the bioluminescent veins along his spine pulsing gently, like a slow heartbeat. "You never answered my question," Nira said, her voice low but clear in the stillness. Lila turned, leaning back against the railing. "Which one? The one I asked when we first met. You keep watching me, human. Do you truly find me that interesting?" Lila smiled. She looked down at her boots, scuffed and patched, then back up at Nira. "Yeah, I do." Nira tilted her head, eyes narrowing slightly. "That's not an answer. That's a word." "Fine," Lila said, stepping closer. "You want the real answer? Here it is. I find you impossible. You talk like poetry but fight like a storm. You heal wounds with your hands but carry 1,000 years of grief in your eyes. You don't trust easily, but once you do, you stand in front of plasma fire for someone you barely know. And yeah, I watch you. Not because you're strange or beautiful, though you are, but because every time I look at you I see what we could be. Not just humans or elves. Something better." Nira was silent for a long moment. The wind tugged at her hair. Kalen let out a soft rumble, not a growl, but something warm like a purr. He sat down heavily, curling his tail around his front paws, his golden eyes fixed on Lila with something close to approval. "You speak too plainly," Nira said finally. "But I like it," Lila laughed. "That's me. No fancy words, just truth." They stood side by side then, shoulders almost touching, watching the moons climb higher. Below, a group of human soldiers helped an elven elder carry crates of seedlings to a newly cleared field. Children, both human and elven, ran between the ruins, laughing as they chased glowing insects that blinked like tiny stars. It was messy, imperfect, but it was alive. "Do you think they'll stay free, the Cathar?" "I mean," Lila asked after a while. Nira nodded. "The weave changed them. Not by force, but by showing them what they lost. Their god was a lie built on fear. Now they remember their own names. That's enough. And us, what are we now?" Nira looked at her, really looked at her, as if seeing her for the first time without armor or duty between them. "We are partners. Maybe more if you're willing to be patient." Lila raised an eyebrow. "Patient halves don't rush love," Nira said softly. "It grows like the moon vines, slow, quiet, but unbreakable once it takes root." "Well," Lila said, grinning, "I've got time, and you've got me watching." Nira's lips curved into a small smile. "Then keep watching, but don't just stand there. Come with me." She turned and walked toward the stairs that spiraled down into the lower gardens. Kalen rose smoothly and followed, his claws clicking softly on the stone. Lila hesitated only a second before falling into step behind them. They passed through archways draped in flowering vines, past pools where water glowed with gentle blue light. The gardens had been buried under rubble, but now they bloomed again, coaxed back to life by elven hands and human hands working together. In the center of the largest garden stood a single tree, tall, silver-barked, with leaves that shimmered like liquid metal. It had sprouted the day the weave reawakened. "This is the memory tree," Nira said, stopping beneath its branches. "It grows from the moment we chose to trust each other. Your memory. My sacrifice. Kalen's fire. All of it." Lila reached out and touched a leaf. It hummed faintly under her fingers, warm and alive. It felt like hope. "I didn't lose my memory, you know," Lila said quietly. "When the weave took it, I still remember everything. The fear, the pain, but also your hand on my face when I woke up, the way you looked at me like I mattered." "You did matter," Nira said. "You still do." Kalen nudged Lila's hand with his snout, his breath warm and smelling faintly of ozone and stone. She scratched behind his horn and he rumbled happily. For a long time, they just stood there, three souls who had faced the end of worlds and walked back together. No grand speeches. No promises carved in stone. Just presence. Just quiet. Later, as the violet moon reached its peak, Naira reached for Lila's hand. Their fingers laced together. Rough human skin against smooth elven palm. Kalen lay down at their feet, his great head resting on his paws, eyes half closed but alert. "We don't need titles," Naira said. "Not yet, not ever, if we don't want them. We just need this. This moment. This choice." Lila squeezed her hand. "Then I choose you." Again and again. And in that garden under twin moons, with a dragon at their feet and a new world growing around them, that was enough. Humanity hadn't saved the elves, and the elves hadn't saved humanity. They had saved each other, not with weapons or ancient magic, but with stubborn kindness, shared silence, and the simple act of watching, really watching and saying yes.